One day, a beautiful woman from my school days, looking completely worn out, visited the hamburger shop I run. The dazzling aura she once had was nowhere to be felt. Even though she graduated from Harvard, she got fired because she wasn't useful. It seemed she had her own set of challenges to deal with. Appearances and academic achievements don't define everything about a person. I knew she was diligent and very kind. That's why I decided to have her work at my hamburger shop, but this decision changed everything. My name is John. I'm currently 25 years old. I run a hamburger shop by myself. I graduated from a fairly good university, but I didn't go into a regular company. Honestly, I was confident I could have made it into a big corporation if I had tried. But I just loved hamburger too much. Ignoring job hunting, I worked part-time jobs and traveled all over the country to try different hamburgers. I devoured not just the famous hamburgers, but also the lesser-known ones to my heart's content. Someone like me, whose mind was filled with nothing but hamburger, couldn't possibly settle for a normal job. After graduating from university, I juggled multiple part-time jobs while thoroughly researching how to make hamburger. I experimented over and over again with making my own buns, patties, and toppings. Finally, I came up with a hamburger that I believed was the best in the world, and I opened a small hamburger shop with the money I had saved from my part-time jobs. But currently, my hamburger shop is barely scraping by. Your hamburger is as delicious as ever, John. Thank you. But whenever I come, I never see any other customers. Yay, that's the case. I think there's no other hamburger as delicious as this. I'm confident in the taste, but it's quite difficult to attract customers. It's such a waste. I think you can talk about hamburger without trying this. I appreciate you saying that. That's why, John, I really want you to succeed. Yes. If I couldn't eat this hamburger, I'd probably have nightmares from wanting it too much. I'll do my best. I've had this kind of conversation with regular customers a few times. Everyone says the taste is the best. But hardly anyone other than the regulars comes. So, currently, I'm barely managing to keep the shop afloat, just above the red line. My hamburger is the best. I believe word of mouth will spread, and one day lots of customers will come. I've kept on believing and doing my best with this thought. But recently, a popular hamburger chain opened near my shop, and the already few customers I had dwindled even further. I was feeling the crisis of slipping into the red if things continued as they were. In the still empty store, I pondered, how can we attract more customers? But no good strategy came to mind. I sighed and drank some water. I wonder if any customers will come today. I was lost in thought when someone unexpectedly entered the shop. A bit delayed, I cheerfully greeted, "Hi," only to freeze when I saw the person's face. Well, I never imagined you'd be running a hamburger shop in a place like this. What are you doing here? Hey, is that any way to speak to a customer? I was momentarily at a loss for words, faced with his logic. Still hadn't learned how to treat customers. You haven't grown at all since high school. What would you like? Come on, don't be so cold. It's been what, 7 years since we last saw each other. Silent treatment. You're still as poor at communication as ever. Please feel free to place your order. Can't you drop the formalities? There's no need for you to be so polite with me. Let's talk more casually. This is so stiff. David laughed mockingly as he said this. It seems like you don't even want to talk to me. Fine. But you must know about the hamburger chain store that opened about a month ago, right? Actually, I'm the area manager there. David looked down on me with a disdainful gaze, as if from above. Seems like you're struggling to attract customers. It's mealtime and not a single person in sight. You must be serving some horrible hamburger. If you're not going to eat, then get out right now. Wow, getting bold, are we, John? As if I'd ever eat the hamburger you made. With that, he stood up, opened the door, and left, saying, "No offense, but we'll be taking the customers in this area," with a wicked grin. David and I were in the same class for all 3 years of high school. I never had any particular feelings towards him, but he always looked down on me. For some reason, from the moment we met in high school, he took a disliking to me. It frustrated me, leading to several arguments. But once I realized that talking to him was a waste of time, I decided to ignore him. There are always going to be people who just don't like you for some reason. I knew a few myself. But I had decided to instantly distance myself from such people and avoid any interaction. However, if they forcefully involved themselves, there was nothing I could do. David was exactly that kind of person. During high school, we were in different friend groups. Even when I was with my friends, he would mock and look down on me, and some of my friends would get angry on my behalf. I was grateful, but I always told them, "It's okay, it's better not to get involved with him," and kept them from reacting. Who could have imagined that someone with such a history would turn up as the area manager of a popular hamburger chain store nearby? And his parting words, "We'll be taking the customers in this area," became a reality. It was as if he opened the store in your mind just to harass me. It felt like a siege, with several of his stores encircling mine. Each of these stores offered hamburger in different styles and flavors and managed to secure a decent number of regular customers. My shop was pushed even further into a tight corner. It was clear that he had opened these stores with the intention of putting mine out of business. Even after opening my own shop, I've continued to research and improve my hamburger every day. I'm confident that the quality of my hamburger has indeed improved. But without customers coming to the store, there was no one to taste my hamburger. I kept struggling, desperately trying to figure out how to survive. Every day, all I thought about was my hamburger shop. I didn't think about anything else, just hamburger. But gradually, the same thoughts began to swirl around in my head, and I hit a wall. It felt like I was suffocating. For a while, I tried to keep going, but I reached a point where I couldn't anymore. If I keep thinking about hamburger all the time, I'll go crazy. With that thought, I decided to go out into the city for the first time in a long while. Being cooped up in my hamburger shop, thinking only about hamburger, it never even occurred to me to wander around the city. As I walked through the streets, my gloomy mood seemed to lighten. Seeing people walking around happily made me want to have them try my hamburger. I was just aimlessly walking around the city, but I felt like I regained some energy. And then, I headed straight back to my hamburger shop, determined to make even more delicious hamburger to attract people. That's when I ran into someone I never expected to see. A beautiful classmate from high school, Emily. Could it be, Emily? Huh, Sean? What happened? You look like you just ran away from home. Oh no, after all this time and I show up looking like a mess. No, I didn't mean it like that. But it's been since high school since we last saw each other, right? What a failure. It's fine, don't worry about it. Even if you don't mind, I do. Okay, let's put that aside for now. What brings you to the city? Lately, things haven't been going well, and before I knew it, I was here. You ended up here without realizing. Something's been bothering you. A lot has been happening, yes. Otherwise, I wouldn't step outside looking like this. Indeed, the Emily I knew had an image of being beautiful and fashionable. Though I'm not one to talk about fashion sense, it honestly felt like she had suddenly come to the city in clothes she had worn at home for years. Yet, her beauty was still intact. It's true that you normally wouldn't go out dressed like that. Right. Even you saying I look like I ran away from home made me realize. You must have been really stressed out. Yes, and it's still ongoing. I see, that sounds tough. Exactly, right in the middle of tough times. Now that you mention it, you do look a bit pale. Are you eating properly? I might not be eating much. I just don't feel like it. You do look a bit thin. I don't think it's appropriate to say that to a woman. Sorry, but you should eat. Otherwise, you'll definitely collapse. I know I should eat, but sometimes I just forget. Emily, do you have time after this? Are you trying to hit on me at a time like this? No, actually, I'm running a hamburger shop nearby. I thought maybe you could try my hamburger. Wow, John, you're working at a hamburger shop. I run it by myself. By yourself? You mean you're the owner? That's amazing. Not really amazing, but I'm very confident in the taste. I feel like I've finally got an appetite. Please let me try it. Then let's go. It's just around the corner from here. Hamburger, huh? It's been a while since I've had any. Do you like hamburger? Yeah, but it's high in calories, right? So I felt guilty eating it and only had it occasionally, but I love it. Good to hear. I'm a bit worried if it'll meet your taste though. If you made it, it'll be fine. I hope so. Walking side by side with her, we headed toward the store, chatting along the way. As we talked, she seemed to gradually look better. My heart felt lighter as we strolled through the city, and even more so as I talked with her. And I thought, she is still so beautiful and charming. Since graduating from high school, Emily, though a bit worn out, had become even more beautiful in her adulthood. I treasured the lucky chance to converse with her as we arrived at my shop. Wow, this is your place, huh? She looked around the shop curiously. Hello, how can I help you? Don't you sound a bit listless? Is that how you greet customers too? Welcome, how can I help you? There you go. You can do it when you try, though I guess I'm one to talk, feeling down myself. My hamburger might cheer you up a bit. Take a seat here and wait. Okay. After seating her at the counter, I made the hamburger with even more care than usual, hoping that Emily would feel a bit better despite feeling down. When I served the hamburger, she said, "It looks really delicious." She then took a slurp of the hamburger. I was confident in the taste, but unsure how she would find it, making me a bit nervous. What if she didn't like it? But she seemed to really enjoy it. Just as I thought, the hamburger you make is delicious. I'm glad, that's a relief. I feel like I've had a proper meal for the first time in a while. It's given me a bit of energy. If it's made Emily feel better, then it was worth making. While she ate, I debated whether to ask why she was feeling down. But after she finished, I felt I should ask. Can I ask you something a bit personal? Sure, what is it? Why are you feeling down? That's very direct. I figured I'd end up asking anyway, so might as well get straight to the point. That makes sense. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay. I actually resigned from my job. What? But didn't you get into Harvard? You were the only one in our year, I remember. You're smart and capable. What happened? I was working at a design company, but I didn't get along with my boss and we argued a lot. Sounds like a common story. Right, it's something that happens in any company. But it's not common to resign because of it. I never thought I'd resign either, but being told I'm useless despite being from Harvard really hurt. Sounds like your boss just didn't like you personally. That might be true. After all, I was practically forced to resign over something I don't even recall doing. That's awful. I don't really want to go into details, but it was quite a shock to see how far people can go when they dislike someone. I couldn't help but think of David, the area manager of the popular hamburger chain. I kind of understand how you feel. I've had my own experiences. That's why, after resigning, I've found it hard to move forward. It's understandable that it would become a trauma. Exactly. I haven't been able to find a new job because of that trauma. So, you're not doing anything at the moment. I want to job hunt, but the thought of being dismissed as useless despite being from Harvard again makes my feet freeze. I thought her dejection was understandable. Being labeled as useless would shock anyone. I'd probably feel the same. Hearing her story, I racked my brain for any helpful advice I could offer. But having never job hunted or been employed myself, the best I could offer was mental support. Then, an idea struck me. Emily, how about working here at my shop? She seemed surprised. At this hamburger shop? Yeah, if you're okay with it. I appreciate the offer, but right now, you are hurt, and stepping into an unfamiliar place full of strangers might be daunting. That's true. But here, it's just me. I would never say anything like your previous boss. I know you wouldn't say anything terrible. I think working at my shop could be a form of rehabilitation. Just don't expect a big salary. Are you sure? It sounds like a great offer to me. Absolutely. If you're up for it, let's work together. She smiled and nodded, saying yes in response to me. Thank you, I'm really happy. You're welcome. If I'm going to work here, I want to be useful. What's the situation with the shop? Truthfully, it's not great. We're barely getting by with just the regulars. The other customers have all gone to the chain stores. Really? Upon saying that, her face took on a contemplative expression. It was as if I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. She suggested that investigating the rival chain stores might be a good first step. I knew that each chain store had been successful by offering hamburger in different styles to customers. However, I've never actually set foot inside the store. I had been considering going, but decided against it after the area manager, David, visited my shop. I think it's probably best if I don't go with you. Would you mind going on your own? I see. It'd be awkward if the rival store recognized you, right? Something like that. Then, I'll go have a look now. I was genuinely surprised. Having just finished a hamburger, it's incredible to think about heading straight into a rival store right after. It was hard to believe she was struggling with job hunting. Maybe it's because of the hamburger you made for me. I feel energized and can't sit still. But aren't you full? There's no need to rush. It's fine. I haven't had a proper meal in a while, so I still have some room left. That sounds like it's been more than just a while. All right, I'll hear the rest later. I'm off then. Watching her brisk departure, I was left in astonishment. Her actions in the days that followed were impressive. In just a few days, she had visited all the chain stores in the area and pinpointed their characteristics. I could never match her efficiency. I think the taste here definitely wins. I'm not trying to put down the chain stores, but my hamburger is unique to this place. I'm absolutely confident in its uniqueness. That's definitely an advantage we should push. What about their menu? Since they're chain stores, it's natural they have a common menu, but each shop had a wide variety, and the dishes all looked appealing. I've been focused on perfecting a single taste, so I haven't thought much about diversifying the menu. I think that's fine. They have their strength in a diverse menu, but we should focus on excelling in one thing. I feel like we're differentiating ourselves in that respect. Right, what you've been doing isn't wrong. Let's aim for further improvement in taste. I do that almost every day, but being alone, I couldn't get any objective opinions. Having you here allows for that. So, we can strengthen our current hamburger together. Exactly. It's really reassuring and helpful. Let's do our best. That's the plan. Oh wait, tomorrow's the day off. So, we start the day after tomorrow. We left the shop and went our separate ways home. Having worked with Emily for only a few days, I felt incredibly happy. She was full of life and always willing to talk. Worrying about what to do with the shop by myself feels like a distant memory. Having just one person with the same goal made such a big difference in motivation. But it wasn't just about sharing the same goal. The fact that it was Emily working with me made a significant impact. Honestly, she was someone I admired in high school, and she seemed out of reach. She was the epitome of beauty and brains, and although I wanted to talk to her, I rarely found the courage. She did talk to me occasionally, but I always felt it was too presumptuous for me to initiate conversation. I never thought the connection we lost after high school would be rekindled. Life is unpredictable. I spent the day off relaxing for the first time in a while. Before reuniting with her, my mind was constantly preoccupied with hamburger, leaving me restless. I wonder when was the last time I spent a day off feeling this peaceful. It felt like such a long time since I had that thought. After the best day off, I left home 2 hours earlier than usual. I was going to teach Emily the ropes. Thinking I needed to give my all today, I turned the corner to see a crowd in front of my shop. What's going on? Had something happened? And right in front of my shop, no less. Hoping nothing dire had occurred, I headed towards my shop. At first glance, it looked like a line forming in front of my store. But it seemed unlikely that my shop would suddenly become so popular as to have a queue. Curious, I circled to the back door and entered the shop. I thought about asking someone what's going on, but decided against it, fearing I might get involved in something troublesome. I had to focus on teaching Emily today, so I started preparing without further ado. When I checked, the remaining hamburger that should have been there was gone. There were supposed to be a few hamburgers. Was I mistaken? Otherwise, it meant the hamburgers had somehow disappeared. As I was pondering this, Emily arrived. After greeting her, I asked, "Emily, did you do something yesterday? I thought there were some hamburgers left, but they are gone." "I didn't have time for that. You cite too, right? There are customers lined up in front of the shop." "No, I don't think they were lining up for my shop." "Don't worry, I asked them, and they said they were waiting for the opening." "I find that hard to believe." Okay, we can talk about this later. Let's finish the preparations first." "Right, if they really are lining up for us, today's going to be incredibly busy." See. Following Emily's suggestion, I finished the preparations and quickly taught her the tasks in the hall. She caught on surprisingly fast, understanding everything after being told just once. I was amazed by her quick comprehension and efficiency. And indeed, if Emily hadn't been there, the shop wouldn't have managed that day. Because customer after customer kept arriving, filling the shop and resulting in the highest sales ever. With disbelief, I parted ways with Emily that day with a smile. From that day on, customers continuously visited my shop. I wondered about the reason, but serving delicious hamburger to the customers was more important. We worked frantically, barely managing the overwhelming crowd. Then, one day, about a month later, the area manager David showed up. "Hey, John, what's going on?" "What do you mean what's going on? Don't shout, there are still customers here." "I don't care about your customers. How did you attract so many people? You must have slandered our chain, haven't you? Otherwise, there's no way they'd come to eat your crappy hamburger." Don't say such baseless things. What you're doing now is exactly the kind of negative campaigning you're accusing me of. Evidence. The fact that so many people are gathering at your shop is the evidence. What did you do? Tell me. It's because of you that our sales have plummeted. I was so frustrated with his irrational yelling that I almost hit him. We still have customers here, you know. Are you aware that you're disturbing them while they're enjoying their meal? That thought brought a surge of anger within me. Just when I was at my limit, Emily sharply intervened. Don't take it out on John. Yesterday, I went around the town offering free hamburger and handing out flyers. People who thought our hamburger was better than your shops just decided to come. So that's what happened. I understood why there were people lined up before opening, and why the hamburgers had disappeared. According to Emily, she used the design skills she honed at the design company to create flyers for our shop. She had taken hamburgers and flyers around town to promote our shop. Undoubtedly, Emily's beauty also played a significant role. There were definitely customers who came just to see her. In any case, it was all thanks to Emily. The word of mouth around town brought customers to my shop. And conversely, the customers at David's chain store decreased. Emily, are you working here? Yes, it's been a while, David. I knew her as a classmate, but he was also in the same class. I don't recall them hanging out together in high school. In fact, there were probably no boys who could easily talk to her. Come on, Emily from Harvard working in this tiny, terrible hamburger place. Quit joking around. It's all thanks to Emily that we have so many customers, isn't it? A dimwit like John couldn't come up with such a plan. If you're willing, how about leaving this puny shop for our company? I can guarantee a higher salary, and with my recommendation, you could be promoted to area manager in no time. Don't be so familiar as to call me by my name without permission. I don't remember giving you that right. You used to call me by my name in high school too, but did you forget that I ignored you for that? Let me be clear, I wouldn't want to work with someone who belittles others' businesses like you do. Above all, I like John's hamburger. His face turned pale as if he had been rejected, and he left the shop with a defeated look, seemingly forgetting my presence. To see David, who was always so confident, knocked down with just one blow. As I thought to myself, that's amazing, and turned towards Emily, she gave a bright smile. Soon after this incident, Emily expressed her gratitude to me. She thanked me for hiring her when she was at her lowest. Eating my hamburger helped her regain her strength. She confessed that she had always admired how earnestly I dedicated myself to one thing since high school. I had been hesitant to speak to Emily, but it turned out she had been just as hesitant to approach me. And so, I accepted her confession, and we started dating. As for David, who stormed into my shop, a customer reported the entire incident to his company, tarnishing its reputation. As a result, he was demoted. Stripped of his title as area manager, he now spends his days in the countryside as a regular employee, with plenty of free time on his hands. But that's no longer my concern. Currently, we are working together at the hamburger shop. Now, with a constant stream of customers, we're so busy that we're discussing whether to hire part-time workers. We're even thinking about opening a second location. Things are going that well. My relationship with Emily is also thriving, and I'm planning to propose to her on her upcoming birthday.